Well, I met up with Paul and Landon and tagged along to catch all the action. Surprisingly, from a distance, the first herd of antelope that we saw had a great buck, but they were all bedded up within some sagebrush. And the nice thing, they were in a great spot to sneak in above them to be in close for a shot. However, there was a problem. To get to that point, we'd have to drive past them in view to get around to the back of the mountain. We could only hope that they wouldn't be too spooked from a truck just driving by. Well, once around the back, we got out and started heading on up the hill. And 10 minutes later, we were near the top. This is where Paul had Landon go ahead and load a bullet in the chamber, and then we continued to sneak in a little more carefully. Those rocks up ahead are where we had previously picked to get to in order to have our vantage point on the pronghorn. We carefully crept down and snuck in, excited about the big buck we'd seen. But when we got there, all the antelope were gone. We could only assume that they had spooked out long before, probably when they saw us driving around to get behind them. It took a few minutes, but we found the pronghorn about a half-mile away. By the time we caught up with them and snuck in above them, some were feeding while others were already bedded down. And sure enough, there was a big buck in the mix. As Landon was getting in position for the shot, some does caught us and put the whole herd on high alert, which sent them all running.
Right there, if you can get a shot, just take it.
Landon rushed to get set up on the bipods and settled in for the shot. By the time he was ready, the buck was right on the edge of Landon's shooting range. Taking aim, Landon squeezed off a shot. A miss. Of course, it was tough for us to watch such a big buck run off, but that's hunting for you. We'll jump right into a stalk we were doing where we bumped a herd of pronghorn that we were able to sneak back into after they'd settled down a bit, but were still on the move. We crawled up to a spot that would allow Landon to get a good rest on his backpack, and it just worked out that the herd with two different decent bucks crossed out in front of us about 300 yards off.
Have you got a shot, Landon? Okay, there's a doe below it. Right in front of him, don't take it.
As happens so often, once Landon was set and on the best buck of the group, we had one of those instances where the buck just doesn't seem to hold still, and when it does stop, there's always a doe too close to have a safe shot.
Okay, right there if he stops. They're right at 300, so what do you think?
Landon did well waiting and then waiting some more. In fact, I think we all started to get a little bit worried that he wouldn't get a clean shot opportunity before they were well out of range. But finally, everything came together, and the buck held still long enough for a shot. Let's see what happens. While I didn't film Landon after the shot, I can tell you he was once again frustrated at missing the buck. While his father Paul and I felt bad for him, we both knew it would come together soon enough, and so we weren't too worried. He just needed to get a few shots under his belt to help him calm down for future shot opportunities. And sure enough, on their next trip out when I was too busy on another hunt, he and his father snuck in on a big buck where he did make his next shot count. Now if you're not familiar with pronghorn, this is a fantastic buck. Pretty much as big a buck as you could hope for here in Idaho, a true trophy. When it comes to measuring pronghorns, this is just shy of an 80-inch buck. I only hope that one day I'll have the opportunity to harvest such a mature pronghorn. Landon, congratulations. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to the Outdoor Youth Challenge YouTube channel.